Hey everyone, this is Derek Bros with the Conscious Resistance Network, and it's another beautiful day, and I want to talk to you guys about some crazy stuff in the world. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, where I'm doing my best to keep it up to date with all of our content, latest articles, documentaries, videos. You can order books and shirts. You can now order our Finders documentary and file USB drive if you email me. You can also sign up for our latest newsletter and lots of other cool stuff going down. So please do check theconsciousresistance.com a couple times a week because I keep it as up to date as possible. And also want to remind you guys to follow us on minds.com at the Conscious Resistance Network. If you haven't joined Minds yet, please join the evolution, get away from Facebook and those other platforms. You can also find us on Steam It Still and a few others, but mainly we're focusing on Minds and our own website for the moment. So today we're talking about Facebook. This article here is coming from the Business Insider, and it's part of their Business Insider Prime, so it's like behind a paywall. So I signed up for $1 temporary so I could read this because the headline was a little bit intriguing to me, I guess you could say. Car bomb fears and stolen prototypes inside Facebook's effort to protect its 80,000 workers around the globe. Now, Facebook and this man right here, Mark Zuckerberg, we know that he's become massively influential all over the world, obviously because of the Facebook platform and the amount of people that are using it, but even more so than that, right? The Facebook company has been accused of allowing interference with the American elections to take place. I've done videos in the past talking about how Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram are making a great effort to censor their platforms, to control their platforms, for example, to take away anti-vaxxed information, health information that they think is incorrect, to take down independent journalists and activists. So they are having a great influence on the world at large in the conversation, right? Because when you get 1/6 plus of the population of the entire world using this platform, and as I've talked about in previous videos, some countries, like say for India, for example, there are people who their only access to the internet is via a Facebook app or a similar tool, right? They don't have regular access to the internet, so to them, getting on Facebook is giving them this window into the world. And so when you are able to channel people through a very narrow line of thinking and line of access to information, you can filter out things that don't fit your agenda, that don't fit your bubble, and through that, you can shape the way that people see the world. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? So the more people who are using your platforms, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, the more you have an ability to remove people, remove platforms, remove them from the platform. And again, this is happening in Brazil, America, the UK, India, of course, China, and most places in the world now. And you throw that in with things like, say, the New Zealand shooting, right? And calls for these platforms to censor videos and to have them taken down. My point here is that they have an immense amount of control over what you think, hear, and see because of how much people are engaged in these platforms. Now, the very simple and obvious answer is just to unplug from these platforms and to make sure that you're getting your information from a wide variety of sources. Now, that doesn't mean that everything on Facebook is false, but also I'm just getting at here that since they have the ability to control it, if you're going into Facebook for some silly reason thinking that you're just getting an unfiltered look at everything going on in the world, well, then obviously you're incorrect because Facebook has that control. But even more than that, right? If this company has the ability to sway elections because they have so much control of our lives by knowledge, by data. This is why data is important. Some people are like, well, you have nothing to hide, whatever. What do I care if they're tracking my, if the government and these private companies are tracking my my travels and my location data, my metadata. That doesn't tell them anything about me. It just tells them my location, the people I call, the people who call me, the amount of time I'm on the phone, and yeah, everywhere I visited. You can create a pretty intensive profile on a person based on that information alone, right? And then when people are posting their emotions, how they feel today, where they're going, checking in at different places, giving you their face print via selfies and tagging their other friends via face prints and things like that, you really do have an immense amount of control over people, or at least sway over. We've seen the studies already in the past say that Facebook can tell when you're about to date somebody before you even know. They can tell when you're going to date somebody before you even know. They can contribute to your depression, to your feeling of dissatisfaction, of envy, I've talked plenty about this, about why I'm not on Facebook and why I started to make the move away from that in the last 2 years, both in my personal profile and then using it in general. And there's emotional costs, there's privacy costs, there are a wide range of issues associated with this platform. But this article here particularly is focusing on the massive headquarters of Facebook over in California and then of their employees around the world. And it says Facebook has a 6,000 person security army quietly protecting its tens of thousands of employees worldwide. The challenges they face are immense, from stalkers to stolen prototypes, car bomb fears, gang violence, and concerns about state-sponsored espionage, people spying on their databases and trying to come after them. Business Insider spoke with current and former Facebook employees about the wild hidden world of Silicon Valley corporate security. Thousands of people turn up at Facebook offices every week to complain about their accounts, attempt to sneak in, ask for tours, or try to meet Mark Zuckerberg. Defenses include plainclothes police officers with firearms to location tracking of blacklisted people, and there are even rumors of a secret escape passageway. And this article is quite extensive. I don't have time to just read through it, and I just don't want to do that. But as I said, it's kind of behind a paywall, so you don't have the opportunity unless you sign up for their little subscription. It only costs $1, and then you can cancel it afterwards if you're really that interested in it. But I just wanted to use this as a launching off point to really thinking about this, that if this is being described as a small army, which it basically is, and they're basically, here's some of the examples. Facebook spent $1 million to bolster its vehicle fleet with more than 30 Toyota RAV4 hybrid SUVs for a security organization with which to patrol its Bay Area offices, only to leave them sitting in a garage for months unused as the company deliberated about how they should be branded. They also have off-duty police officers who patrol halls in civilian clothes with concealed firearms. Few employees even know these officers exist, and the move spooked some of the workers who subsequently noticed them. So obviously a company's going to do measures to protect their businesses, and especially a company as big as Facebook. But what I'm getting at here is that several times in this article, it's referenced as a small army. If it sounds like a small army, that's because in many ways it is. Silicon Valley's founding principles of freedom and nonconformism created a province of open plan offices and sprawling university-like campuses that have since been emulated throughout the corporate world. But within Silicon Valley's tech companies today, there's a more hard-headed reality hiding just below the idyllic surface. At a time when tech brands and leaders have become objects of public fascination, and in some cases outright hostility, tech companies like Facebook have no choice but to erect ever more sophisticated and expensive fortifications. So, again, this article goes really deep into this. But think about this. A company that's as rich and wealthy as Facebook, as rich and wealthy as Mark Zuckerberg, has the ability to sway elections, has the ability to know all kinds of data about everybody. I mean, think about any politician, anybody who's used Facebook. Again, you can download your Facebook profile, your whole Facebook file. I want to advise you guys to go check out your settings, go deactivate your account. But before you do, look it up and find out where you can download your whole Facebook profile, your whole Google profile, and you can see every message you ever sent, every picture you've ever sent. You'll probably find some pictures and images that you didn't send, but if you were running the Facebook app and it's constantly gaining access to your phone, you're going to find pictures and various things that you didn't even mean for them to have. You might even have some of your friends' images and information that they didn't mean for anybody to have, but that's part of playing their game. And you really start to understand how much time and your livelihood you've been giving to this tool. And I'm kind of focused on Facebook for the moment, but let's just talk social media in general, right? I mean, I used it from 2009 till 2018. And that's nearly 10 years of my life of, typically it wasn't very personal stuff, but over the years I did put where I was going. I put my feelings, my emotions, of course, all kinds of personal messages to people that Facebook had access to. And I'm not saying that there's a person assigned to each of us that's just sitting there reading through our messages. But you better believe Facebook has algorithms. They have artificial intelligence just like Google. And that's how they're able to search for various terms to censor media, to censor outlets, and to censor conversations eventually, I guess. And they have also shown that they're more than willing to hand over your information to police officers and to the government. So think about that. This powerful, powerful company building essentially what's being described here as a small army to protect themselves. But let's imagine the future that as these tech companies, as we know that big tech, big wireless, that Google, Facebook, Amazon, these are the biggest companies, most powerful companies in the world. Their platforms are used more than any to buy books, to buy products, to search for information, to connect with friends. I mean, they have control over a lot of areas of our lives. I mean, Amazon is killing bookstores all over the world because of how many people have embraced their platform and continue to use it. Meanwhile, Facebook, Amazon, and Google have all shown that they're willing to be involved in surveillance, to partner with governments. Amazon and Google working on drone programs and facial recognition programs and things like that. So these companies don't have our interests at heart. And if they get so massive that they build their own armies, well, you know, I've heard this complaint before where some people have said, you know, if anarcho-capitalism or, you know, a world without a government is just going to lead to the world getting, the companies in the world getting stronger, and you'll have private armies. Maybe you won't have the government army, the U.S. Army, but you're going to end up with a bunch of private armies. And people say, well, how is that any better? And I definitely understand. I mean, in my world of eliminating government and eliminating authority, we also have to address the corporate power. You know, the corporate powers like these guys, they've gained their influence by working with the government. You can look at CIA, Incutel, and Facebook connection, and you can see the collusion, the connection between the Department of Defense, the Atlantic Council, and Facebook. These companies are quasi-private at best, right? So they're not necessarily just straight up private companies who just grew independently and then all of a sudden are wanting to build their own armies. They have been working and collaborating with the governments of the world, but they both need to be addressed, corporate and state power. At the end of the day, it's just one machine. But if we were to say just get rid of the governments, well then all of a sudden Facebook, who has access to all of your data, who has the ability to spy and monitor and expose all kinds of probably secrets of people around the world, they have their own army. They're building their own army. So we're headed towards a world where Google, Facebook, Amazon, the major companies of the world, there's already private armies. Like, let's say, what if Facebook really wanted to protect themselves if they thought the people were coming after them and they just hired Blackwater or, you know, similar private companies like that, private mercenaries? At the end of the day, they have the money. They have the ability to do that. And free people like us who are only concerned about freedom, about liberty, about being left the hell alone and thriving and creating a better world for the future, eventually we're going to have to address this. And I know it's not the most fun topic because we just want to think about the positive things, and some of you guys just want to drown in the negative things, but this is a reality that eventually we will probably have to focus on. And I've actually got another video coming out soon that I'm working on that's called, Is It Time for an Anarchist Army? So stay tuned for that. We'll talk all about those ideas very soon, but I think that's all I got to say for the moment. I've got plenty more videos coming out this week. Also, please do visit theconsciousresistance.com because, as I mentioned recently, I'm writing articles again. And some of these articles I make videos for. Some of them I don't. So you want to read and watch. Read, watch, and listen. I'm making all kinds of content. So if you prefer to read, then read the articles. If you prefer to listen or watch a video, then do that. But everything can be found at theconsciousresistance.com and posted on minds.com at the Conscious Resistance Network. So until next time, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Please like, follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.